Well, I came from Baltimore as a single mother, and I always wanted to farm organically, but it was absolutely too expensive in the Baltimore area to do that. But I found out I could come to West Virginia and I could buy land and begin to farm organically. So as a single mother, I brought both of my children, Kathleen and Bill, with me when I came. When I first came up here, they had been drilling for gas wells, and the road was so bad, Crooked Run was so bad, that they had to winch me out of the road in order to get here. And came up here, and I looked at it, and I said, that's what I want. That's it. It came to me naturally. And so I came and I got a position with the old Weston Hospital as a social worker. I have a master's in social work. I wanted to have this farm, so I commuted every day, 5 days a week. I always believed in helping people to do the best they could with what they were given in life. I really always loved the patients. They always loved me. The administration, not so much. So that was for 10 years. And in that time, we developed the farm, and we started doing everything organically. And I was one of the founders of the Mountain State Organic Group. And this was the first certified farm in West Virginia, and the first solely owned by a woman. We continued using those methods even after the Mountain State Organic Group dissolved. And then we also formed the Herb Association, the West Virginia Herb Association, and that is still going on. I think it was the 22nd anniversary. So I've had a wonderful experience in West Virginia, all along improving the house. When I first came here, it was so cold that winter. I was told they were going to drill a gas well. I did not have the mineral rights. So they drilled, and I heard a lot of noise up there one day, and the whole hill slid down, the whole thing, all the way down. It covered all the trees, and if you cover a trunk of a tree to a perceptible level, it dies. That was my first experience with what happens with gas. After I retired, because I was chemically sensitive, and they kept spraying pesticides at the hospital, and so I retired early. We kept continuing to improve things and built a shop, and I'm still making hydrosols and not enough essential oils to sell. I hoard them. but hydrosols and hydrosols have become quite popular now because they are milder than the essential oils, which you can't need on your skin. But the hydrosols have everything in it that is in the plant at the time you pick it. It's been a really wonderful journey that I began 34 years ago. And I've learned so much, and I've met so many friends, and been in so many really wonderful groups, and still am, where like-minded people who love the earth and love each other and want to be sustainable. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey, which I thought would never end. So this is the culmination. This crazy thing I did really worked. It really worked. It was the fruition of this crazy journey. And now it looks as if I've got to go on another journey. I didn't mean to have to do this at the age of 79. I didn't know it would ever happen. I didn't know I would have to leave La Paix. And somebody said, well, you might be leaving La Paix, but you're taking it with you. I've been working with a group of people who also believe that fracking is not the best thing. It's not sustainable. It hurts the air, the earth, the water, the people, and it really doesn't bring the jobs that they say they're bringing. It brings accidents and social upheaval and loss of property values and a change of a whole county. If you're going to put 300 wells in just the western part of Lewis County, which is where I live, it's going to be mile to mile wells. It's not going to be farms and hills and valleys and beautiful plants, trees, birds, and people. It's going to be an industrial site and probably quite polluted. I wish we could do more research on, and after the research, which a lot of which has been done, talk with the people who are affected and try to help answer their questions and help them, because it's not just me, it's all the people affected by fracking. It really hurts that there's a separation of minerals from the land in West Virginia and other states too, and that's what it's being taken advantage of. I believe it's going to hurt the water to the effect that we will not have the water we need for daily living. And I also believe the carbon imprint will ruin the earth within 20 years unless we do something. Rockefeller has divested himself of his holdings in oil and gas. And doesn't that tell you something? We need to look at alternative forms of energy. We need to look at green jobs for people who can work in an atmosphere that is conducive to their health and not harmful to them and others around them, but jobs that will keep on going, not disappear in 10 years after the land is gone and the mountains are gone and all that is left is devastation. The group I'm working with, and there are groups all over the state and people all over the state who care. And here in Lewis County, we are doing the best we can to try to let people know and hear from what they know. They can tell us and work together to ban fracking in Lewis County and perhaps be an example for the rest of the state and the country. It's being done. It's being done in other towns. It's being done in some states still in the United States. It's being done in Europe, Germany, France, most of England. It can be done, and it's only being done to save ourselves from our own disrespect for the earth. We're the only species that fouls their own nest. And this is one of the biggest foulments of all. We worried about it. We could feel it coming. And Tom Bond, who is a resident farmer and a retired professor here in Lewis County, and I went to the Lewis County Commission in 2012, actually, ironically, in October of 2012, and asked that there be a moratorium to the 3 commissioners at that time, and we were turned down. We only really heard about it within the last couple months that it was going to be as devastating, more devastating than we ever imagined. Over 300 wells to be drilled. People think that they are going to maybe make money from it, but if their land is ruined for the ongoing generations, well, as I said, you can't drink gas. It was believed that the individual gas and oil companies could have their own hazmat and they could take it all, do it all, which to me, I don't think that's a good idea, because it has to come from the people who are being affected.